4 years ago, Metropolitan Nashville Public Schools was in a state of restructuring. We were one of only 2 school districts in the state at this level of accountability. We were defensive. We had a lack of depth and leadership in our school system. And frankly, we had a bad organizational culture. 4 years later, today, we're in an intermediate status. It means we're in good standing in the state in terms of accountability measures. We're the second of 4 groups of categories of school, if you will, with the top group comprising about 16% of the school systems in the state. So in the 4-year period of time, we've essentially moved ahead of about half of the school systems in the state in terms of accountability status. We've sustained progress over the past 3 years. We have good trends. Example, last week we had a meeting with Superintendent of the Achievement School District, Chris Gardy, and we were informed last week that there will be no further state action on those schools that fall into the Achievement School District for next year for Metropolitan Nashville Public Schools. That's indicative of the fact that we're making good progress in those areas. But this is not good enough where we are in Nashville and MNPS today. Outcomes are still too low, and that's what this meeting's about today, and announcements. Tribal Education has been a major consultant for us for a little over a year now. David Moran is a principal with this group, and David's going to present in just a minute. It's a 5-year long-term contract. That's intent is to focus on the low-performing schools in our district.
My name is David Moran, and as Dr. Rochester said, I lead Tribal Education Incorporated's work here in Nashville, and I'm genuinely excited to be here today and share some of our work and some of our findings. So educational outcomes. Outcomes are too low, and they are not improving fast enough. Across the system, not just our 34 schools, across the system, only 1 out of 3 elementary and middle school students meet grade level standards in math. When we look at reading, that figure just goes to 2 out of 5 students. And when we look at career and college ready standards as measured by ACT, that figure goes down to 1 out of 5. That is too low, that is too unacceptable, and we need to do something about it. However, another area which we've noticed, which is really quite striking, is the between-school variation. There are similar classrooms in similar schools teaching similar children, but with vastly different outcomes, which proves that it can be done. It proves that the answers lie within the system. Actually, I'm going to be braver than that, and I'm going to say the answers, some of them, most of them, lie in this room, and most of them lie on the 3rd row back, and 1 on the 5th row. And they are our network lead principles. They have proved through their work that despite the challenges of deprivation, despite the challenges of poverty, the outcomes can be good, if not great. The central office is bureaucratic and doesn't improve continuous school improvement. Only 1 out of 3 students in the schools which we worked in, 1 out of 3 respondents rated culture, student or staff culture, as being acceptable. Only 1 out of 4 said that teaching and learning was acceptable. 4 out of 5 want greater autonomy. And only 1 out of 3 indicated that they were satisfied with their use and access to data and information. Moving on to the last area, lack of principal autonomy and a defined accountability. We've observed, as I said, 2,278 lessons. 30 central office staff have been trained by our Ofsted lead inspectors to be external reviewers. And what we've seen is, out of those 2,200 odd lessons, only 22% of them were judged to be effective. So only 22% were in the sustaining or high-performing category. And that's too low. And that has to improve.
I really want to talk about where we're going now. 2013 will be a year of change in our district. We want to deal with these issues that we heard tribal address, defining autonomy and accountability very clearly. We're talking about school level and classroom level autonomy and accountability. Autonomy and accountability of teachers and principals in our district. Personalized learning, I said this earlier this morning. This is a small group of 27,000 students that we want to address first. 27,000 students in the schools that we identify will have personalized learning based on data, based on meetings between teachers and students as we go forward. That's as differentiated as we can get. And developing and expanding the network lead principal structure. This is the big change structurally. Identify the best performers and to have them network with other principals who need their expertise and to form small networks of principals in the district. 4 or 5 principals in each network. And to give them greater autonomy across the board in what they're doing, but also to hold them accountable. Network leads know that the performance that they've demonstrated in student achievement must continue as they work with other schools to help that grow. And to the restructure of the central office, to develop that structure so that it supports this decentralized model. The central office will be streamlined. Example, I have 14 direct reports now. I'm going to reduce that in half. I'll probably have 6 direct reports. We're going to make sure that the central office is structured so that we support that decentralized autonomy and accountability for the network leads. These folks asked us if we really meant it when we started this year. What we really mean is taking this model to scale. And that means very quickly moving from 7 to district-wide. We've got to pick it up. We've got to move forward aggressively now, and we're going to start this year.